We're a little over halfway through the college basketball season, which means it's time to update my top 30 NBA draft prospects in college basketball for the 2026 NBA draft cycle. But before we get into my prospect rankings, if you enjoy the content, please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. And now, let's jump into it. And at the top of my 2026 big board right now, it's Darryn Peterson, and when he's healthy, there's a clear separation for me. At 6'5", 205 pounds, Peterson is a truly advanced scorer who can operate on or off the ball, blending NBA-level pace with elite shot creation and high-end passing reads. Hamstring injuries, though, have limited his availability for the Kansas Jayhawks this season, but when he's been out there, the production has been undeniable, as he's averaging 21 points per game on 49.5% from the field and 43% from the three-point line. And Peterson glides to his spots, dismantles defenses from all three levels, and truly looks like a premier scorer every time he's on the floor. Next, at my number 2 spot, I have Dybantsa, who just checks every box as a modern jumbo wing initiator with elite scoring upside. At 6'9", he combines his long, fluid strides with advanced footwork, rim pressure, and touch with both hands. He's producing at 24 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists on 53.5% shooting, and consistently changes gears and stops on a dime in the mid-range for pull-up jumpers. And the ceiling remains massive for Dybantsa, and maybe even higher than Peterson, especially with his processing and ability to score in big moments like we've seen him do time and time again for BYU. But the swing skill for me remains that three-point shot, but if that becomes even more consistent, the overall star power is undeniable from Dybantsa. And rounding out the top 3, I have Cameron Boozer, who has been one of the most dominant and productive players in all of college basketball this season. He's averaging 23.5 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 58% from the field and 37.5% from 3, and has functioned as a true offensive hub from the post for the Duke Blue Devils. And Boozer impacts winning in just about every way, from rebounding, passing, his physicality, and feel for the game, while consistently making high-level reads. Defensive mobility on the perimeter is the primary question for me from Cameron Boozer, but his blend of skill, processing, and the intensity that he plays at places him firmly among the elite in this class. Caleb Wilson is my 4th ranked prospect, and he is one of the most physically dominant and energetic prospects in the entire country, as he anchors games with his motor and defensive versatility. Currently, he's averaging 20 points and nearly 10 rebounds per game, and finishes efficiently around the rim and leads the nation in dunks right now. And Wilson thrives in transition as he runs the floor relentlessly and brings legitimate 1 to 5 defensive potential with his tools and effort on that end of the floor. And while he isn't a shooter just yet, and the handle still needs some tightening, his rim pressure, rebounding, and the infectious energy that he brings make him one of the most intriguing evaluations in this class to me. At number 5, I have Kingston Flemings, who has emerged as one of the biggest breakout guards in all of college basketball this season, as he showcased his elite poise and two-way impact for the Houston Cougars. The 6'4" freshman point guard is averaging 17 points, 5.5 assists, and 2 steals per game, while shooting 52% from the floor and an impressive 38% from deep. He plays with burst and physicality, and punishes when overhelped on with sharp passing instincts, and has grown significantly as a shooter this year. And despite average size, his defensive grit, the late game shot making that he showcased, and command of the offense give him legitimate top tier upside, and is one of the big reasons why I have him in my top 5. And I have another breakout freshman at the number 6 spot, and that's Keaton Wagler, as he has quietly become one of the most efficient and reliable guards in the entire country. At 6'6", he offers real versatility, averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, while shooting 48% from the field and 44.5% from 3 right now. And Wagler wins with his craft, timing, and deception rather than explosive athleticism, and he finishes efficiently in the half court and defends well at the point of attack. And his poise and competitive makeup consistently stand out when he's playing for the Illini, and as Illinois keeps winning, his upside continues to climb. Mikel Brown Jr. comes in at the number 7 spot for me, as he remains one of the more fascinating guard evaluations in this NBA draft class. After missing time with back spasms throughout this season, he's flashed why the upside remains high though, showing creativity, downhill athleticism, and tempo control when he's been out there. Currently, Brown is averaging 15.5 points, 5 assists, but early shooting struggles specifically from deep remain a concern for me, although we have seen him shoot it well, specifically last summer when he played for Team USA. But still, his size at the guard position, his handle and defensive potential, and the ability to pressure the rim separate him from most guards in this class. However, the shot selection has also been inconsistent this year and has been one of the main issues, which makes his trajectory worth close monitoring as the season progresses, but I still think he's a top 10 talent right now. Coming in at number 8, I have LaBaron Phylon, who has taken a massive sophomore leap for the Crimson Tide as he's emerged as one of the most complete breakout guards in the country. He's averaging 21.5 points, 5 assists, and 3.5 rebounds, while nearly doubling his three-point volume and hitting 38.5% from deep, which has been a big step from last season. And Phylon plays at a controlled pace, reads defenses quickly, and scores efficiently at all 3 levels. And while he lacks elite vertical pop, his processing, the offensive versatility that he brings, and that pesky on-ball defense make him a high-impact two-way guard with continued upside that I think a lot of NBA teams would like. My 9th-ranked prospect is Darius Acuff Jr. as he brings a powerful, confident scoring presence to the backcourt and plays with pace, strength, and shot-making versatility, which he has showcased with Arkansas so far this season. He's averaging over 20 points, 6.5 assists, and shoots 49% from the field and 41% from 3, while consistently breaking down defenders in isolation and pick-and-roll situations, which shows he's already ready for the NBA style of play. And Acuff thrives attacking downhill, finishing through contact, and creating separation with sharp footwork. And while defensive size is a question for me for Acuff, his blend of scoring instincts, the physicality that he plays at the guard position, and the control he has over the game gives him legitimate top-end upside. And rounding out the top 10 at number 10, I have Jaden Quaintance from Kentucky as he remains one of the highest upside defensive prospects in this draft class, even with limited on-court sample size this season. Quaintance is returning from ACL surgery and he's appeared in just 4 games under minute restrictions for the Wildcats, but the flashes he's shown has been intriguing to me as he nearly posted a double-double in 17 minutes against St. John's, and Quaintance showcased elite rim protection, searchability, and intensity both this season when he's played, but also last season at Arizona State. And with a massive wingspan and defensive versatility, his long-term ceiling remains extremely high, though the sustained availability and production will define where his stock ultimately settles once the draft is here. At number 11 is Koa Peat, who is a powerful interior force who impacts games with physicality, toughness, and efficiency around the rim. He's averaging nearly 15 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, while shooting 57% from the field as a dominant finisher and rebounder for an Arizona team that's number 1 in the country right now and currently undefeated. And Pete thrives in the mid-post and elbow areas and does the dirty work defensively and consistently makes the winning plays for the Wildcats. And the questions I have revolve around shooting range and spacing fit at the next level, but currently his production, versatility, and the motor that he plays with keeps him firmly in the first round conversation and a lottery pick for me right now. At the number 12 spot, I have Braylon Mullins from UConn as he projects as one of the best pure shooters in this draft class and offers gravity and high basketball IQ on the wing. After missing the first month of the season with injury, he's currently averaging 12 points per game while shooting 38% from 3 on efficient volume. And at 6'6", Mullins defends his position well, moves without the ball, and can score in bunches as a movement shooter. Rim pressure, though, for Mullins has been limited as we've seen so far with UConn, but his shooting, size, and connective play are valuable in a wing class searching for reliable spacing, and Mullins can bring just that to any NBA team next season. Coming in at number 13, I have Yaxel Lindborg from Michigan, and Lindborg is a physical, stat-stuffing forward who brings versatility and toughness to the floor each and every time he's out there. He's averaging 14.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, contributing across multiple categories despite a reduced role in a deep front court for the Michigan Wolverines. And at 6'9", Lindborg handles, passes, defends, and brings real interior presence. And the three-point shot has cooled, though, to just 30% this season, making fit a key factor for him at the next level, but his physicality, feel, and two-way production give him a clear pathway to an NBA utility player, and I think whatever NBA team drafts him will be really happy with what they get. And rounding out the lottery at the number 14 spot, I have Ament from Tennessee, who remains one of the most intriguing long-term bets in this class due to his rare blend of size and perimeter skill. At 6'10", Ament is averaging 17 points and 6.5 rebounds and has flash fluidity, touch, and feel that few players his size possess. However, consistency, both physically and as a shooter, remains the swing factor and is one of the main reasons why he's down in this update of my NBA draft big board, with 31% from 3 highlighting the need for growth from deep. But Ament's recent upward trend in the season suggests his ceiling is still very much in play as the season moves forward, and in my next update, he could be even higher with the way he's turning out playing right now. Thomas Haugh comes in at my number 15 spot, and he's a smart, physical forward who consistently impacts games without needing the ball, and he's exploded this year for the Florida Gators. Currently, he's producing at 17.5 points and 6.5 rebounds while shooting 48% from the field and 35% from three. And Haugh really thrives as a cutter, contact finisher, and decision maker on the floor. And at 6'9", Haugh brings positional versatility, toughness, and a relentless motor each and every time he plays. And he may not be flashy, but his adaptability and ability to fit into winning lineups make him one of the most dependable forward prospects in this class. Hans Steinbach is next at the number 16 spot, and Steinbach offers a clear and valuable interior profile as one of the best rebounders in all of college basketball this season. The 6'11" big is averaging 18 points and 11.5 rebounds and scores efficiently around the rim and shows strong feel as a short roll passer. And Steinbach's offense is polished and physical, but the swing skill is his defense, particularly against elite competition. And while he isn't a switchable or vertical rim protector, his rebounding dominance and interior scoring give him real first-round traction in a thin big man class we have this year. Next, my 17th ranked prospect is Christian Anderson, as he has emerged as a high-level offensive engine for the Texas Tech Red Raiders and blends shot creation with advanced playmaking feel. Currently, he's averaging 20 points and 7.5 assists while drilling 43.5% from three on high volume. And Anderson has the ability to score at all three levels and has showcased that this season using pace, footwork, and clean mechanics to create separation from defenders. And as a facilitator, he reads pick and roll coverages well and delivers accurate passes under pressure. Size and defense for Christian Anderson, though, are my concerns, but his shooting gravity and the offensive polish that he has already keeps him firmly on my NBA radar. At number 18, I have another Arizona Wildcat, and that's their other freshman, Brayden Burries, who has steadily climbed my draft board after a slow start to the season, as he's found rhythm as a smooth, physical scorer for the Wildcats. He's averaging 15.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and nearly 3 assists per game, and shoots 50% from the field and 37% from three right now. And Burries excels attacking downhill and finishing through contact, and he can operate in the mid-range with his mature footwork. Defensive consistency, though, remains a work in progress for Burries, and his positional projection is still being defied with his size, but his recent play suggests real momentum as the Arizona Wildcats continue to push toward March. Coming in at number 19, I have Chris Cenac Jr. from Houston, and Cenac is a tools-driven big with intriguing long-term upside to me. At roughly 6'11" with a massive wingspan, Cenac is averaging 9.5 points and 8 rebounds per game for the Cougars, while flashing touch as a shooter at 37% from three right now. And Cenac runs the floor well, finishes above the rim, and shows comfort facing up and putting the ball on the deck when needed. And his defensive instincts are still developing, but there's definitely upside there. But his combination of size, mobility, and the evolving skill set that he has makes him a high upside prospect worth tracking closely. And rounding out my top 20 at the number 20 spot, I have Bennett Sturts from Iowa, and Sturts has taken a unique path, but his feel for the game consistently translates to each and every level that he plays at. After dominating at the lower levels of college, he's currently averaging 19 points and 5 assists while shooting 39.5% from three in a seamless transition to high major play in the Big Ten. And Sturts plays with poise, processes the game quickly, and impacts possessions both on and off the ball for the Hawkeyes. And questions remain about athletic separation and his defensive ceiling, but the skill that he has and the confidence that he brings, as well as the offensive IQ that he plays with, as basically being a coach on the floor for the Iowa Hawkeyes, give him a strong first-round case to me. Next at number 21, I have Cameron Carr from Baylor, who has enjoyed a massive breakout season so far this year as he showcased shot making and insane athletic pop on the wing. He's currently averaging 19.5 points and shooting 40.5% from three for the Bears and finishes efficiently in space. And Carr brings real 3-and-D potential with explosive tools and vertical ability to the next level as he thrives as a scoring spark. And defensive physicality remains an area for growth for Carr, but his offensive confidence, the shooting versatility that he has, as well as his athletic profile make him a high upside wing in a role that consistently translates at the next level. Patrick Ngungba is my number 22 ranked prospect, and he brings stability and efficiency to the center position and impacts winning through strength and touch for the Duke Blue Devils. This season so far, he's averaging 11 points and 6 rebounds and finishes at an elite 62% from the field. And Ngungba scores patiently on the block, makes solid reads as a passer, and plays with strong positioning defensively. And while he isn't a dynamic shot blocker or floor spacer, his improved frame, length, and consistency make him a reliable interior presence whose value hinges on continued development in mobility and range. But I definitely think he could be a valuable backup big at the next level. At my number 23 spot, I have another breakout freshman, and this time it's Amari Allen from Alabama. And Allen has quickly worked his way into the one and done conversation by doing a little bit of everything for the Crimson Tide. He's averaging 11.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game, and uses his strong frame and versatility to impact both ends of the floor. And Allen plays within the flow, he makes smart reads, and attacks closeouts with a purpose. And defensively, he projects as a multi-position stopper with solid tools on that end. And although he will need continued refinement like cleaner footwork and discipline on the offense and defensive end, this will determine how high his stock climbs as SEC play unfolds, but he has been one of my favorite prospects so far this season. Coming in at the number 24 spot is another Baylor Bear, and this time it's freshman Tounde Yessoufou, who stands out immediately with his physical tools and relentless motor for the Bears. At 6'5", Yessoufou is averaging 17.5 points and 6 rebounds and thrives as a downhill scorer who dominates in transition and finishes with force. And Yessoufou's confidence, athleticism, and defensive activity set the tone, and he's begun to add more touch in the mid-range. The three-point shot, though, is still developing, but if it stabilizes like we've seen in some games for Baylor, his two-way impact and scoring aggression could drive a significant rise in my rankings, as he was higher earlier on but has since dropped. Aday Mara comes in at the number 25 spot, and he remains one of the most intriguing bigs in this class to me due to his sheer size and defensive tools. The 7'3" center is averaging nearly 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game, and finishes an ultra-efficient 66.5% from the field. And with his massive wingspan and improved strength that we've seen from his transition from UCLA to Michigan this year, Mara anchors the paint defensively while also providing value as a passer and a finisher for the Wolverines. And as the center class continues to take shape and is a little thin, his rim protection and mobility give him legitimate first-round appeal for me. At number 26, I have Dailyn Swain from Texas, and Swain has surged into the top 30 by impacting games everywhere on the floor so far this season for the Longhorns. Currently, he's averaging 17.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, and shoots nearly 58% from the field, while thriving as a transition force and a defensive disruptor. And Swain has the ability to guard multiple positions. He slashes aggressively on the offensive end and can create offense without needing plays called for specifically just him. And the biggest swing skill for Swain is that three-point shot, but the athleticism, defensive range, and downhill play that he has gives him real late-round, first-round intrigue. Iowa State's Joshua Jefferson comes in at the number 27th ranked prospect for me, and Jefferson is the ultimate connector forward and blends toughness with elite decision-making. This season, he's averaging 17.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, while shooting a career-best 40.5% from 3, and Jefferson initiates the offense from the elbows, makes advanced reads, and consistently elevates teammates with his feel for the game. And while he lacks that explosive athleticism and rim protection we see from the forward spot at times, his strength, versatility, and the maturity that he brings make him a highly reliable late first-round target who can fit seamlessly into winning environments immediately. Next, at number 28, I have another Michigan big, and this time it's Morez Johnson Jr., and he thrives in the margins as he dominates games with his physicality and constant effort. Johnson Jr. is averaging 13.5 points and 7 rebounds and converts an elite 69% from the field while running the floor hard and attacking the glass time and time again. And at 6'9", 255 pounds, Johnson plays with force, rebounds at a high level, and holds his own defensively across coverages. And Morez Johnson Jr. knows his role for the Wolverines and finishes efficiently and brings constant energy, which are traits that will translate well for teams valuing dependable interior contributors, which is exactly what he is. Isaiah Evans comes in at the number 29 spot, and he brings one elite skill that immediately stands out, and that's his shooting, specifically from deep. Evans is averaging 14 points per game for Duke and spacing the floor with NBA range confidence and a quick high release. And he can heat up in a hurry, scoring off movement, spot-ups, and pull-up jumpers, and finishing inside and defense consistency remains areas for growth, although we have seen that grow from last season as he was a freshman with Duke, but his willingness to embrace a larger role this season has been encouraging to me, and how much he expands his all-around impact will ultimately determine his next level projection, but right now I still have him inside my top 30 prospects. And rounding out my board of top 30 prospects in college basketball right now is Tyler Tanner, and Tanner is a dynamic guard who thrives with pace and pressure. He's averaging 18 points, 5 assists, and 2.5 steals, and uses burst and shiftiness to constantly get into the lane. and Tanner plays fast, draws fouls, and creates passing angles on the move while competing defensively at the point of attack. And the key swing skill is perimeter shooting consistency, as he wasn't that great last season, but it's definitely seen a jump in his sophomore year with the Commodores. But his ability to control the tempo and generate offense makes him a compelling guard worth continued monitoring, although that size does concern me a bit, but I'm definitely believing Tanner is a first-round prospect right now. And I also have a ton of honorable mentions that are just outside of my top 30 prospects for the 2026 NBA draft cycle right now, but these guys could definitely play their way in come the end of the season, and they are JT Topham from Texas Tech, Henry Vasar from North Carolina, Dame Sarr from Duke, Ibuka Okori from Stanford, and Elijah Arenas from USC. But that wraps it up for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on my updated 2026 NBA Draft Big Board, and who do you think should be higher or lower in my rankings. Also, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.